Hello everyone and welcome to the Deep Blue Renegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deep Blue Renegade, and I'd like to welcome you to episode 32. Today is March 4th, 2014, so happy Pie Month! So, for those of you who are not aware, it is 314, which is the first three digits of pi. All month long! Isn't that exciting? Maybe I'm celebrating by working on something in the round. No, not really. I am still working on something in the round. Isn't that amusing? Was there anything else I needed to say at the beginning? No, probably not. I am still working on the Bohus. Is anyone surprised? I'm not. So, I have been knitting away in the round. Let's see. What have I done? I finished both sleeves. Isn't that exciting? So, I have two sleeves. Woohoo. They are identical now. I ended up going back and redoing the first sleeve so that it was red. There we go. So there is vaguely the Bohus. And as you can tell, there's still a decent way to go before I'm long enough. Let's take a moment and figure this out, because obviously I didn't do that before I started podcasting. Where's the tape measure? That's the nice thing about having the one knitting bag to rule them all nearby. So, armpit down, I'm at 4 inches. How big do I probably want this to be? A lot more inches to go. I haven't tried it on recently, so I don't really know where it is falling on me precisely. I started to do waist decreases. So I've done 4 so far. I was planning on doing 6. Oh, big reach for the coffee. Be careful because the coffee's pretty full. And so based on my gauge, each set of decreases takes away half an inch. So it might be a good idea to try it on soon now that I'm at 4. So what was I saying? So, half an inch, 3 inches sounds like a lot, so maybe I'll only be doing 4. So obviously enough, still flying by the seat of my pants. Because I realized on my first Bohus that I had started the waist decreases too late, so it doesn't necessarily follow my body as well as I think it should have. So it's just whatever, like a small tweak from there. So I probably should figure out how many decreases I did for that one and figure out if it's comparable. Pretty far away. And this has been my carry around knitting, work in the dark knitting. This doesn't work so well when you're trying to figure out when the next time to decrease is, or if you completely miss a decrease because you're working in the dark. And that holding it up to the light of the street lamps as you're driving by doesn't necessarily work so hot. But it is coming along, so whatever. So that's probably what, half a sleeve and 4 inches of body since I last saw you guys, and that was more. There was still a decent amount of sleeve that ended up being done. I suppose quantitatively I could weigh the sweater and figure out, based on how much yarn I have remaining and how much yarn I've knit already, what's going on. And I'm hoping that, what is it? So I tried to be more quantitative about how much yarn I use, because I realized that my first bow husk wasn't very descriptive in that regard, so I'm just trying to figure out a way to say, yes, I did in fact use up a significant amount of yarn when I make these colorwork yokes. So I have a good estimate on how much I used. I know approximately how much I had used of my non-small skeins of wool mysa, and then I know it was just a case where with the 30-gram tasteable mysa balls, I didn't really pay close attention to that. So one of them is completely gone. I used up the rest of my Malabrigo lace weight and then ended up breaking into the second skein that I had of that. I know how much I had started and finished with my Cascade Heritage hand paints. And it's just a matter of probably taking all of my small balls and subtracting what I know I put in and then figuring out how much remains so then I can sort of keep track of how much remains on my stash page, because I sort of like knowing that when I use yarn that it disappears. So that's going to be like a little project, not maybe a super crazy one. So let's see. So I think that's everything about the bow husk. I probably need to put it on another set of needles and try it on again and see where I stand in terms of length and all that other fun stuff. Or maybe just get a sense for how much is left, because I would like to be done by the 15th, and that is 11 days away. The good news is that knitting is easy, but I do have to put time into these things in order to complete them. And this week is a pretty busy week, all things considered. So what else? So that's everything on the bow husk. The other thing that was taking up my time this week was the spinning. So I had showed you guys last week that I was spinning another skein of the brown Shetland fleece. For some reason, I guess I had screwed up in the weighing of it. So, so this is a skein of the brown chocolate fleece. It is, I screwed up in the weighing of it for some reason. So this is only, it's about 1 3/4 of an ounce instead of the 2 ounces I was intending. I don't think I had that much loss in seconds. It might just be a case where I have to weigh my spindle as I go. So this is a cable ply, which means what I ended up doing is spinning my 2 ounces of singles, winding it into a center pull ball, then 2-plying it on itself. Then when I finished the 2-ply, I wound it into another center pull ball, and then I 2-plied that onto itself. So it has a very interesting texture, a very nice roundness to it. The final yarn was definitely the case where it was far softer than the single ply or the 2-ply. And it was a little bit crazy coming off of the, what is it? So it was a little bit crazy coming off of out of the sink, but it's looking pretty balanced. I was impressed. It was a little bit crazy coming off the spindle. I didn't end up waiting. I didn't let my singles rest all that long, as in maybe a couple of hours before I went ahead and 2-plied it, and I didn't let it rest at all when I did the final 4-ply. So it's it's a little hairy, but progress in progress towards whatever, a sweater spin on a spindle, which might be slightly crazy pants. And as I mentioned last week, I still have 4 more ounces of prepped roll logs, which I can continue to spin from. I think I'm going to switch to the Fat Cat Knits BFL spin. And I need to take photos of this because this is actually the first spin the bin thing that I've finished. Well, it helps when it's 2 ounces. Which is cool. So what the other thing that I'm planning to do for this is that in the Completely and Twisted Arbitrary group, a group of happy, ridiculous spinners. What is it? So this is the second in what I think I need to be 12 skeins of this. So what is it? So it's the case where they've started a new challenge. They ended up having this challenge last year, but I couldn't participate because I didn't own a pound of fiber. But the idea is that it's called the Pound-a-thon challenge. So what you do is you sit down, you set aside at least 16 ounces or more of fiber, or 16 ounces or more of fiber that you're going to spin. And the idea being that you're spinning for a specific project. In this case, I'm spinning for a cardigan jacket thing, which is either going to be a drops circle sweater or Thea Coleman's mold cider sweater. And I think I'll probably end up going towards Thea Coleman's pattern, just because I know the quality will be there. Let's just say drops patterns, they don't hold your hand. So it takes a savvy knitter to fill in the missing information. But because I started this particular spin before March 1st, this means it doesn't count towards my pound. But I do have quite a bit of fiber upstairs, so I need to sit down, weigh it all, weigh all of my roll logs, double check that my pile of roll logs is actually, the roll logs that I prepped so far are actually 2 ounces. It's so annoying. I don't think I had that many. It might just be the case where as I'm spinning I have to weigh it to figure out if I need to keep spinning more, so then my bag will be approximately 2, and then I weigh it at the end and figure out, oh, I need to throw another roll log in because I had that much loss. I don't know, it just seems like a lot of loss for, I don't know, that much yarn. So this was a shorter skein it turned out to be, and actually a little bit heavier than my first one. So this one came in at 63 yards. I'll probably measure it again just to be sure, because oftentimes when I'm pulling from the nitty knotty to the from the spindle, it always seems like I have pretty tremendous tension. So I wanted to make sure I have a good assessment for how much yardage I actually have, and I don't know how much it changed with the washing. Generally, I don't find too big a difference when I give it a good wash and a thwack, but I thwacked this pretty hard. It was a lot of fun. It was fun. It was good to thwack. So that's the story there. So it's coming together, like, once more. Another brown thing. I don't know what it is about me and brown lately. Oh, I left that. So I ended up winning a prize as a part of participating in Deepbluerenegade. So I was a part of 2 teams. I was a part of the Evil Enabler team, which anyone who saw my Ravitar on Ravelry would The Evil Enablers was the Woolmeister team, which makes sense because my project's mostly Woolmeister. The other team that I was a part of is the team Port in Any Storm. And it turned out that the people who were organizing that team had decided to put everyone who intended to participate into the drawing for prizes. So I ended up winning a small sock blocker, which I don't remember the name of the designer, but it was the case where it was this designer and then her husband made these like little sock blockers on that you could like attach to things, so it'd be something where so it's whatever, like it's probably pretty big for a keychain, but like whatever, it's pretty big for a keychain thing, but maybe it'd be good to put the house key on or something like that. And then a little bit of yarn in man, that was nice. A little bit of candy too, which was lovely, but the yarn was Tanis Fiber Arts, and it was the MCN base. It's nice. Oh man, like it just like feeling it. Like I rubbed it on the husband. He's like, oh, it's soft. He doesn't understand. Like, I don't know. It's like it's one hand. Like I don't know if it's the case where it's just that the cashmere content is much higher in that particular base or something like that. The color is gorgeous too as well, but it was just like a feel of that. Like I don't know if it was like a 20% cashmere sort of thing, but I think when I get around to buying yarn the next time, I think I need to make an order to them, or an order from them. It just seems worthy of further investigation. So I'm probably going to knit a mini sock out of the sample of yarn I got. So it's 18 grams, which there's probably, oh, why am I blanking? So 18 grams, so that's enough to incorporate in some sorts of color work things, where it's one color, many colors, but I'm probably just going to do the mini sock out of it and put it on the blocker, and then everything will be happy and gold. So, so that was what I ended up winning. I'll probably show the whole assembly together when I get around to making the sock. Still no change in, what is it, the probability of me going to the knitting pipeline retreat. I guess I haven't asked again to figure out where I am on the list, but currently I stand on 4th on the waiting list. And I worked out with one of the other people. I'm a teaching assistant for a class, and so I worked out with this guy so that he would cover my hours in exchange for me covering his. So I will be able to go if I get the call, but until I get the call, I do not know. So I would really, really, really love to go, but obviously enough, I procrastinate like a grad student, and no one can out-procrastinate us. So it would be really awesome if I could, but hard to tell at this point. The last thing is that the reason why I talk about not buying yarn for a long time is that for some reason this week I felt like buying things. So you will be able to, what is it? So I'll be showing off a couple of things that come at some point eventually. So I ended up getting a sweater's quantity of Woolmeister DK. I haven't had an opportunity to make anything with the DK before, and I had really been looking at, I believe that it's Cookie A's rotation sweater, which turns out calls for finger weight. When I met Cookie A, she was wearing her sweater, it was just fabulous. I'm like, I want a dark gray sweater that I can wear with everything. So that is winging its way from Germany. And the short answer is that if you're looking to buy Woolmeister, just get it directly from her. Cut out the middleman and their profit margins. So the yarn, so this sweater here is also Woolmeister, this is lace weight. It's hard to beat the speed of getting Woolmeister from the Loopy U, but it goes quickly, and the premium you pay for buying it from Sherry of the Loopy U is pretty ridiculous. I got 3 skeins of Woolmeister DK shipped from Germany for $105 US. Which I probably only need 2 to make a sweater, so I don't know why I bought 3. But oh well, whatever. Maybe it turns out that I will need 3. Who knows? So it was probably more expensive than the sweater. It's actually a what is it? It's a part of my Christmas present. So it's just the case where it's like, hey, buy something nice for yourself. So I'm like, yes, I will get one myself. The other thing was I ended up getting some fiber knit D-stash. So I ended up getting a 70% superwash merino, 30% silk from Pigeon Roof Studios. So I am really excited about that. And I joined my first fiber club, which we'll see how this goes. I've never been a part of a club before. I've heard a lot of people talk about being in clubs, and the reason why I ended up going for this particular one was, first off, the colors that this woman dyes are quite gorgeous. Second off, it is nearly impossible to get the fiber in an update. It's really pretty cutthroat in order to get the fiber. And thirdly, for a 3-month club, it ended up costing me $69, including shipping. So that would be $23 for every 4 ounces of a fiber you can't get in beautiful colors. I'll link the listing in the show notes if it's still available. The dyer is called Nest. So we shall see what ends up happening. But it was just the case where, like, I was looking at it, it was like, for something that is very hard to get, it was incredibly easy to sign up for this club for some reason. I don't know. It is not like my rate of spinning fiber is particularly fast. I would say that this has been, from start to finish, one of the fastest projects I've had in a long time. So, at a rate of 2 ounces a week, how many weeks would it take to get through the rest of, or 2 ounces for every 2 weeks, an ounce a week? I don't think I have 52 ounces of fiber, but it's not like I'm spinning consistently. This was my first finished yarn in a while. So we'll see if I have a fiber accumulation problem, and if I do, I would need to sign up for another shipment of the club. So these are merely future stash positions, but it's, I suppose, worth talking about the fiber club if there's still spots and you're still interested in joining it. Because, let's just say from a value perspective, getting something you can't get for a good price and guaranteeing that you'll get 3 of it. For some reason, the inner Dutch in me was quite happy with this particular purchase for whatever reason. And it's the month of my birthday. So now I'm celebrating my birthday for 3 months instead of mere 1. for those of you who don't know, I share the same birthday as Laura of the Knit Girls, so I always find it hilarious that she celebrates her birthday all month long. I promise you guys, I will not do the same, but it was, what is it? Last year I bought birthday presents for myself as well. I bought the blue and white fiber, which became the vest, 8 ounces, so that I would have enough to actually make something with it. And I also bought my spinning bag, which was from the Knotted Bag, so it's probably sort of similar. Maybe not. So those should be arriving in the mail at some point. They'll probably end up getting spread out over a few episodes, but such is life. Is there anything else that I wanted to talk about today? So I've covered the retreat. So I would say, what is it? The last thing that I would like to talk about is I am not Mel of Single-Handed Knits, but I do appreciate some of the things that Mel does. And probably the big thing that I really like about her is that she wants to know what you're up to. And I would have to agree. So I would really appreciate if whatever the viewers of the podcast would introduce themselves, because I know that maybe I don't know, there's however many people who drop by the group and look at the episode there are how many people are following my blog, and there's how many people are like watching my podcast on YouTube, but I have no clue who you are if you don't introduce yourself. So what was it? So in the introduce yourself thread for the Knitting Pipeline retreat, I believe it was Lisa, and be like, hey, what's your podcast? I'm like, I don't know who you are at all. which is merely the fact that oftentimes the communication is a one-way street. So I'm sharing what I'm working on and what I'm up to and stuff like that. But it would be really awesome if you could share what you're working on and what you're up to. Maybe not in a 30-minute episode format, but I would like to meet you, I'd like to know you, I'd like to help you out. If that makes any sense. I want to look after you guys. So it's the case where, like, I'm putting myself out there. I'm just asking that it would be really awesome if you could put yourself out there and introduce yourself to me, because whatever. So I know that there's a variety of people who watch my podcast who I know in real life, or if not in real life, and stuff like that. But for the people I've never met before, I'd like to get to know you. I'd like to know your name. So, my suggestion then would be the best place to maybe, whatever, say hi and show what you're working on, stuff like that, would be the episode thread in the Ravelry group for the, so the group is the Deepbluerenegade podcast, and it just be, what is it? Like, I'm hoping to increase the amount of community building in the group. I have some plans in the works, hopefully, to have a knit-along in April and May. And the good news is that this knit-along will be cheater-friendly and very possible to work on what you were going to do anyways. And hopefully have some prizes and stuff like that to sweeten the pot a little. So, so I think a good first step, since this is the first episode in March, is to, whatever, introduce yourself to everyone and be a part of the community. It's the first step. So I'd really like to meet you guys if you haven't introduced yourself yet. All right, is there anything else? I don't think there's anything else that I want to talk about. So today is the 4th I will be recording again on the 11th of March. I am highly doubtful that I will have a finished Bohus at that point. Who knows? I'm hopeful but doubtful. Maybe that should be the episode title for this week. And I look forward to meeting you guys this week. So I hope you have a lovely week, and I'll see you again soon. So, oh wait. Man, I really need to work on this whole waving thing. So take care, guys. Bye-bye.